Welcome to the Boxing Source Midweek Report, where we tackle the latest topics in the sport of boxing here up to this point every single Wednesday. Time to start the show. Yo, what's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? That's right. We're checking in here for the Midweek Report for November 5th, 2025. That's right, November 5th, 2025. Hopefully, y'all are, all good here for this Wednesday as we have a busy schedule here for this edition of the Midweek Report. We got, an interview schedule here that's supposed to be for 7:45 p.m. Eastern time here with Dante Kirkman. So, we got that's coming up, but we also have a number of topics that we're going to be talking about in this particular edition of the Midweek Report. And I wanted to go through a quick rundown of the boxing schedule for this weekend, man. We got, of course, what's happening on November 8th, but we got a number of events going on for November 7th as well. So, I wanted to kind of like get through that here within these first few minutes. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, share the schedule of sorts here for what's going down on this weekend. First for November 7th, I want to see if I could share this screen here for those watching live. Big ups for everyone that's watching live here. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go for the Pro Box schedule because we got Pro Box that is coming up here on Friday night. So we're gonna have that Pro Box schedule that's on here. So definitely wanted to share that because there's supposed to be a key fight there on that particular one. So let's see here if we could get that loaded up here in a bit. Hold on just a second because looks like this thing here was trying to get on, but I'm not sure what's going on with the screen on it. So I wanted to see about like sharing that, but let's see how that goes because I wanted to see if I could get this on here. So I want to go ahead and share that screen, see if I could get this here on real quick because I need this thing to kind of like go on here for before the guest joins in. So let me see here how this goes. So you got the fights on Pro Box that's headlined by Nicholas Flores versus Delonte Johnson. There, and you're also going to have Dominic Valle versus Rene Alvarado. They're over in Lakeland, Florida. So those are like the two key bouts there on that. So let me see here because I need to get this thing going to where you're able to see the screen and everything like that. So bear with me for 1 second there. Shout out to Toby Bartlett there in the building and everything like that. All right, so let me see what's going on here. All right, let me see. Is this thing here is supposed to get this happening? So let me see what's going. Hold on, just a second. Hold on. Hopefully you're able to hear me and everything like that. But yeah, there was something going on as far as like the screen is concerned. So let me see here. Want to get back. Hopefully you're able to see me and everything. Because yeah, I'm gonna have to get at Rumble for this thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's supposed to like have me be able to share the screen right off the rip, and it didn't do that when I initially came on. So here we are with the schedule. So had to like step off and then step back in, but nah, Rumble is gonna have to fix that. All right. With that being said, too, I'm gonna have to, have something else here, in the background as we're gonna get our,
Recording in
our
progress.
guy, back on the screen here and stuff like that. So, definitely had that here that's on cue. All right. So got that situated and everything like that. Now you see the screen right there. Hopefully you're able to see the screen and you see me here on this edition of the Midweek Report. We got Nicholas Flores versus Delonte Tiger Johnson. They're in the welterweight division. Nicholas Flores, has been around the WBO rankings there or whatever. They're in the welterweight division. You got Delonte Tiger Johnson that had this fight over in Norfolk, Virginia, sometime back. They're at 16-0, right? And then, as I say, you got Dominic Valle versus Rene Alvarado on this card. You got Xavier Bocanegra on the card, Ranulfo Bocanegra on the card. and a few other guys that you'll have like a few fights on the schedule. Kasuma Akatsugi versus Vincent Astrolabio, but the main focus there is what's going down with with Nicholas Flores and Tiger Johnson, because with that, you got Tiger Johnson that's been coming up in the ranks there in the welterweight division. Had a couple of key fights, here and there, whatnot. But with that being said, now he's going up against Nicholas Flores. Has had a few key fights there within the welterweight division, and they've been building them up there within top rank and stuff like that too. So we got that's happening and going down. So also, like I said, with Dominic Baye, who's been part of the Pro Box cards that they've had there, that's also going to be on this one here for the upcoming fight card on Pro Box for Friday, November 7th, right? Now, we also got, of course, November 8th there in Fort Worth, Texas, right? Headlined by Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Erickson Lubin. You're going to have Darius Fulton versus David Stevens, another key fight there in the super middleweight division. We talked about that fight yesterday on Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields, right? And you're also going to have another one of his fighters there, Joshua Edwards, in there against Zeno Voris in the heavyweight division. You got Robin Safar versus Derek Miller Jr. on this thing. And you're going to also have Eric Priest featured on this Golden Boy Promotions card. Okay, so you got a number of those fights that's going to be on that card. Let me see here. So, as long as, they're able to, have this be a good event thing or whatnot. So we'll see how that also goes there, as you pretty much see that, there through the box rec and all that type of stuff, right? All right, bet. So, with that being said, those are like a couple of fights or a couple of fight cards that's going to be on the docket on slate there for this weekend. We also, have something in what is it? Atlantic City, right? In the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Let me see here if we could pull that screen up as well. You're gonna have Justin Figueroa there against Jose Perdomo, and you got Otto Wallin in there against Chris Thomas as part of that card. Nathan Lugo versus Diego Yablonski. Oh no, Yablonski. Yeah, there we go. Yablonski, not Yablonski. No, it's Yablonski. Yeah. So we got that's going on right there, right? So you have all of those fights, those fight cards and all that type of stuff going down here this weekend. Of course, we focus on what's going to be happening there for November 8th, as you got Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Erickson Lubin there for the WBC interim super welterweight title, right? You got all of that going on and going down. Real big fight, real key fight there in the 154-pound division. Something there where you're going to see where Virgil Ortiz Jr. is at this particular point there at 154. Yes, the Ring magazine does have him ranked at number 1 in the 154-pound division. Now, this is coming off of his win against Israel Madrimov on February 22nd. He's coming off of, a hand injury after that bout. So now going up against someone like Erickson Lubin, you're going to see if he's, one, if he's 100%, and 2, if he's, ready to be able to take on a guy's experience there as Erickson Lubin. Okay, that's, of course, like fought for, world title, sometime back, had a bout there with Sebastian Fundora, had to win over Jesus Ramos Jr. in 2023, and, didn't get back in the ring until his fight against Arjo Holmes Jr. over in, Kissimmee, Florida, a few months back. So now you're going to have him getting back in the mix. This could get him right there within the top part of the 154-pound division. So, we got that's on slate for Saturday night. And, of course, this one that you see on the screen, that is on Friday night in Atlantic City. You also see there's Bruce Seldon Jr. that's on that fight card as well. Yep, that's right. Bruce Seldon Jr. on the card there in the heavyweight division against Jose Medina. All right, so you also got that on slate on the docket. All right, so with that being said, we got a number of fights and fight cards that's going to be happening here this weekend. The Saturday night card is on the Zone there from Fort Worth, Texas, headlined by Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Eric Lubin. And you got the Nicholas Foss versus Tiger Johnson headlining the Pro Box card on Friday night. So yeah, don't sleep on that thing there. Friday night, Pro Box TV. That kind of like starts off. A lot of fights is coming up here for this week, and yes, eventually here I'm going to be talking about. Well, there could have been a fight. What was it? Next Friday, but they ain't quite go down. You know what I'm saying? All right. So also here, before I try to secure the special guest for join in here. That's scheduled to come in about a couple of minutes. I did talk about this in the last edition of the Boxing Source podcast and kind of like posted it a little bit on social media there. If you checked out the stories, they're on Instagram through the Boxing Source. I said that I was, working on a project there, but, pretty much has gotten, a little bit closer to getting this thing fully done. And that's the thing in reference to trading cards. So you see like, trading cards like this right here. You know what I mean? So we got like front and the back. You'll be able to see that front and back and everything like that. That's how a number of these cards are pretty much done there. So I got something for Canelo. You got Francois Scarborough Jr. With the Lightning and everything like that. Can't necessarily say all too well, but these are like coming a few of the fight cards that I do have now printed, but still a little bit more to go on that. I still have a few more to print and everything like that. But now, I'm trying to see if I could get my special guest to join us here or to talk about, his fight that happened on October 23rd over in Costa Mesa against Wesley Vanderlinden. Okay, he was able to get a second round stoppage victory there. So wanted to see if I could get him to join in here. Let me see here. As long as we're able to, get this thing situated and everything like that. I don't know. I think you might have to rotate your phone or whatever it is, something like that. Yeah. There we go. All right, yeah, we in there. We good. All right, of course, coming from Palo Alto, California, there now with a record of 6-0 with 3 wins by way of knockout. That's right, it's brother Dante Kirkman in the building. What's going on, Dante?
Just getting ready. Just finished up sparring, so thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no doubt, man. I mean, hey, you back in the gym, after having the second round knockout against Wesley Vanderlinden in Costa Mesa, California, and I'm not sure here, but are you working on securing another fight here before the end of this year?
Yeah, so it's looking like I'm going to fight December 11th, right back at the same venue, same setup, everything. It'll be my third fight back to back. I fought September 6th, October 23rd, and so like we're back in game immediately, really.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That'll be like 4 or so fights this year, man. That's a good thing to be able to stay busy and everything like that. Now, you've been out there in like Thunder Valley, for a couple of fights here this year, and now with the hangar there in Costa Mesa, that would be another fight there in the hangar coming up scheduled for December 11th. So, like, how is it to kind of like get 4 fights? Pretty much could end up with 4 fights this year.
I mean, it's been great. So, I mean, the first round of those 4 fights was in March, and then I graduated. And after graduation, with this upcoming fight, I'll have had 3 fights in like 4 months or whatever, like September, October, December. Like that's back to back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just looking to keep staying in the ring, staying in the gym, staying active, and like I'm gonna be active in the new year too. So, I'm hoping. I mean, I don't like to plan. It's just. But I mean, I'm just gonna be active, stay in the gym, and that's just what I'm here for.
That's something right there because like we were talking about, being a graduate there at Stanford University, you're able to walk with the cap and gown, and then what is it about like a couple months later, you're back in the ring, at least at the very least against what was it against Dylan Carson, right? Dylan Carson. So
Yeah.
like how is it to like kind of like make that adjustment? Because it's like, okay, you get your degree, you walk, you throw you throw your cap up and everything like that, and then I would say within a week you're like back in the gym or something like that, or probably the next 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard to balance school and boxing. So, I mean, like, there's a reason I was Stanford's first professional boxer, so it was hard. I mean, like, I still had fights. I think, I mean, I'm trying to remember the number. I think I might have had like either 3 or 4 fights as a student. Um, so I mean, like I was active then, but like more so like kind of quarterly. But I mean, like now that I'm like a free man, this is like I don't have to go to class after sparring or something like that. I can just rest or recover. Really take my time and just treat my body and give it the recovery that it needs. So I'm just finally being able to be full-time boxing for once. So I'm just really appreciative, and I've just seen like immediate growth in like both mentally and physically. So I'm just looking to, keep on growing.
Now, I mean, that's the thing as far as like, being able to finish, college there. But to kind of like go through those past few years or so, not just, as a professional, but also with the amateurs, there and things like that too. So, having, whether it's a full-time schedule, there in classes or whatever it is, you still had to hit the gym. So, as you said, with like a recent example there, with you, having a schedule where you're going to class, like after going to gym, depending on like what time the class is or something like that, like you could be
Yeah.
like completely exhausted and still,
Yes.
go through, the thing there as far as like the lectures and all that type of
Yep.
stuff. So like how was that experience to try to get through that, or, get yourself, pretty much like amped up or psyched up so that you'll be able to get through. Sometimes it could be up to, 1.5 to 2 hours for a class.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough, especially like with like weight cutting and stuff like that. I mean, fighters in general, like, I mean, we're great athletes, but you cut any person's food, we're pretty like
Yeah.
drained sometimes. So, sometimes like I think you mentioned like hour and a half, 2 hour classes. I had some 3 hour classes where like I'm as soon as I leave the gym, I gotta rush to class, not really eat at all, just because there's not time to not even be able to stretch or something, or just
Mm-hmm.
be able to treat my body how a professional athlete should treat their body. And then later in the day, go work out again. And so like that was really hard. And like it was a blessing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but it was just it was a lot. So I'm just blessed and thankful that I was able to, finish that chapter of my life and just now fully pursue my dream of boxing.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, once you're able to, complete your final course and things like that, like this is, before, the whole thing as far as like the graduation and that type of stuff. But whether it's to finally turn in the term paper, or anything like that, or as they say, the final exam week and stuff like that. Like, how was that like last day to kind of like get through that and say, man, I finally did it?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know why, but every single time there's some sort of finals week or something, it always lined up with some sort of fight. Even as an amateur, like my finals week would be the same week as like USA Boxing national tournaments,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and so it would be tough. Like I would have to fully prepare like myself. Like I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. I think I had like 1B or something. Like, and like I would have to fully prepare for these classes because I don't know, like I'm just taught and raised to try my best in like
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like I'm not gonna just go there and slack off. So like I want to be at my best and like in class and stuff. So I would like prepare as much as I could academically
Mm-hmm.
before leaving to these like national tournaments. So I would like try to choose my classes with ones that I know would end with final projects instead of a test that week. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I can't make a test, I can't go
Yeah.
to the tournament or something. So I would just kind of try to like plan it out as much as I could. And like my mom, she graduated from Stanford from law school, and so like she kind of had that experience. My brother as well, so
Mm-hmm.
they were kind of able to like give me that guidance of like how do we choose like our courses correctly. How do I like prepare to be able to leave for a full week at one of
Yeah.
the hardest universities and just miss a week of classes. And so like it was tough with that. But like it was obviously like very rewarding. Like I got to be like a part of like a great community, meet a lot of like great smart people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just overall a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's kind of like difficult to do something like that as far as like scheduling is concerned when it came to the amateurs. Like, for example, if like, what would it be? I would say, let's take last year's nationals, so to speak. Like, it would be over in, like, say, Richmond, Virginia, or something like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you would have to have the classes like scheduled or slated or picked to where like you would have the final week and you wouldn't have to worry about too much in that final week. So you would be preparing to go over to say Richmond, Virginia for
Yep.
nationals. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
to kind of like have it like that way is it makes it, yeah, you have that schedule, but at least you would know what you need to do, before that particular week. So at least you have everything like scheduled and
Yeah.
slated and things like that. And like you mentioned there with your brother that's been in the school, with your mother that's been in the school, they pretty much like gave you like a blueprint of what happens you're over there in
Yep.
Stanford University and stuff like that. But you're also having that type of atmosphere over in Stanford and Palo Alto and all of that. So it kind of like, man, I don't know, because I ain't necessarily been to like Palo Alto, but to be in like multiple cities around California, like it's a whole different vibe. Because I'm like based in the East Coast, so it's like a whole different vibe in the
Yeah.
West Coast like that. So like, how is it to kind of like have that lifestyle over there?
I mean, yeah, so Palo Alto, for context, that's like it's basically Stanford. Like I grew up across the street from Stanford. Just like always been around Stanford my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like um, it's a very academically driven area. It's got like I mean, my family has been rooted here for years before it was like more so like a wealthy area.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's a pretty wealthy area, and I kind of because of that, honestly, like I think people would often like underestimate me just because they're like, you're this kid. I don't look, super intimidating. Like that is like coming from an area where I don't really like need to box, So
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of would get a little bit of like bias like from that end
Mm-hmm.
per se, but I mean on the opposite end, for the members of like the community and stuff, I'm the only boxer people know. like so I'm kind of like just trying to like establish my legacy here. And I mean, like even at Stanford, like for a lot of people, like I had like some of my friends from Stanford come to my fight, they didn't even know how boxing was scored. Like they were trying to literally like understand if it was like calculating like speeds of the punches, like maybe if that like adds up to win a round or something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know how it worked. But like I was able to introduce like this culture to like a new thing being boxing, and just tell people that it's not what they see in movies or whatever where it's all brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It's an artful sport. It's a lot more intellectual than people realize. You got
Yeah.
to have a high IQ to box. And so that's just what I've been able to due to the community here. But then, also kind of trying to just bring a new perspective into the boxing community as well. Like boxers, we can be smart, we can be well spoken. We don't have to carry ourselves a certain way. It's like I don't talk trash. I just go about my Christian life, and so, yeah,
Yeah, you live the Christian lifestyle. You have the thing there as far as like being in Stanford and handle business, that way. Like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be, all brash and that type of stuff in order for you to, do your thing in boxing. And as they say, like boxing is a martial art. And so you kind of like have to, treat it that way. And, there's some instances where, like they have some events like chess boxing. So it's pretty much like chess. You got to be able to move to the right position or move, go the right way in order to be the most successful in that front. So like if for those fellow students that you've been with over the course of your time in Stanford, you kind of like show them that there with boxing. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
Yep, for sure, for sure. Now, coming up with this thing here for this next event, given the date, like, see, You don't even have to worry about school. See, now you got this, and you're free. You're free for this. You don't have to worry about no projects. No final exams and nothing. So this one right here for
Yep.
December, you'll be right. You'll be really ready to go and not have to worry about nothing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited. It's gonna be my second 6 rounder. I'll be looking to go 7-0. We don't look for the knockout, just like I didn't look for it in my last fight. Just kind of happened accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
So just looking to stay active and stay blessed.
Yeah, yep, for sure, for sure. Like you said, their second round TKO, part of a co-main event there in that fight card on October 25th. So, how is it to like be part of that and have to be the co-feature on that fight card?
That was an amazing experience. I kind of had I wasn't a co-main, but I kind of was in like some of the Bay Area shows, just because like how many people that like I brought.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was great to be able to go to a different fan base. Leaving like my area of California and traveling to Southern California.
Yeah.
Like it was a wonderful show. So like I want to thank Fight Club OC, the promoter, and yeah, it was just amazing. Like it felt like a dream come true. I could finally, like travel and put on a show for the fans.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. As you said, it's a little bit of a kind of like a contrast of sorts. To be from like, or if you like, for example, from like or Northern California or Southern California, like you would have like one side, and then you got like a whole nother side there. Like for example, like you said, there being around that Stanford area or San Francisco, in comparison, like a Los Angeles or like a San Diego, you know what I mean? So it kind of like
Yeah.
have those contrasting styles there when you do that. So with this upcoming fight, you have another one there in that same venue, and then going into 2026, you'll be able to build with more fights probably around that area. So you not only can build a crowd there, in your area, but you got fans there in Southern California as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 100%. So, I mean, like we've had, 5 fights in like Bay Area, Sacramento-ish area, going back to LA again. And I mean, like, we'll see what opportunities are like presented to me, but I'm, I'm really just trying to, get myself out there and just, keep giving the fans a show.
Word, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so with that being said, as far as like traveling is concerned and stuff like that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
of course, in the U.S., right, you got the big cities for boxing in Las Vegas and New York City. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, outside of those two cities, and this could be anywhere in the world, what city
Okay.
would you like to fight in?
That's a great question, actually. So, over the summer, as soon as I graduated, it's the first time I had taken a vacation in like 8 years since I was like a kid,
Mm-hmm.
just because of like training and stuff like that. And I went to Japan. I went to Tokyo. I went to Osaka. And I mean, we've seen some fighters go over there recently. We saw Brian Norman go over there. We saw Stephen Fulton go over there. I would love to fight in Japan, like multiple times. Like it would be so cool. I love the culture over there. Um, Somewhere in the UK, like their culture is just amazing. The atmosphere is great. They got, I think it's Wembley Stadium,
Yep, that's
giant
right.
stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to go there. So like I would love to, just go worldwide with it.
Yeah, gotcha. Like you said there with Japan, they have a very strong fan base there. Of course, with right now with Naoya Inoue, building a fan
Yeah.
base there. You got Junto Nakatani, of course, also that's competing there, and with the thing with the UK, as you said with Wembley Stadium, that is like one of the like most scenic. I would say one of the most scenic venues that I've seen. Like period. Like I've been there one time, and that whole thing is like it's almost like it stands by itself. You know what I'm saying? So that would be like one great venue to be at over there in the UK, and they have like a couple of other ones that's been notable as well. But yeah, those are like two great spots to be able to fight in and things like that. Now, what you plan on, or are you aspiring to try to be like say for example, you got like 4 fights this year, and then see if you can move towards like maybe 5 fights next year or something like that.
Um, Really, like, I mean, it honestly kind of depends on my body. I'm young and I get the help of Snack and my amazing coach Casey Crofts, who just kind of manages like my workouts and my nutrition, all that stuff to make sure I'm not overtrained.
Mm-hmm.
According to my coach Eddie, I should fight every month. That's the old school way. That's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So we kind of gotta find that balance. I mean, like I said, in I guess 4 months, what is that? September, October, November, December. That'll still be 3 fights.
Yeah.
From 4 months. So we'll see. I'll probably have like a little bit of rest after this fight in December. Enjoy the holidays, but looking to fight early in the new year too. But again, it's just I try not to plan too much, just because there's a saying one of my coaches would say, which is we plan, God laughs, because I don't know his plan. So I just would love to stay as active as possible, and God willing, I get as many fights as I can in the new year as well, and close out this year strong.
Yeah, it's said, we never know, but God knows. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
as long as you'll be active as much as possible and properly prepared, then he'll be able to guide you and get you to where you need to go on that front. So, definitely looking forward to all of that there. And as I said, with your upcoming bout that's here slated for December 11th, there at the hangar at Costa Mesa, California. Another 6-rounder, plan to be 6-rounder there. So, definitely looking forward to, that coming up as well. So we got to see what's going down with that. Want to give a big thanks to you and also the brother Mario here for setting this up so we'll be able to have this conversation and things like that. And, we'll be able to keep tabs with you here later on down the line before your fight coming up on December 11th, and then I'll be able to check in with brother Mario to see what's going down as far as anything to get before the fight happens down the line. But big thanks here for chopping it up with us here at the Boxing Source, and we're definitely going to look forward for your fight coming up here, scheduled for December 11th.
Awesome, thank you so much. I love the conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there you go, folks. That is our brother there, Dante Kirkman, being able to join us here for this particular conversation. Of course, he got this, his fight that was, out of the way there that happened on October 25th. Second round knockout and things like that there. So, he's planning to get right back in the ring on December 11th. Shout out to brother Adam there in the building. Yeah, man, I don't know what's up with this thing here. I might have to try to incorporate something here with the not with the Rumble joint, but also with the OBS. I'm gonna probably try to synchronize the OBS with the YouTube account or something, because this whole thing with the letters and numbers and all that type of stuff, it makes it a little bit crazy. But I mean, that's all good and well as far as being able to catch up with Dante Kirkman here, of course, after his win that happened on October 25th. All right. Now, as it was mentioned here for what's upcoming, you got the Pro Box card that's on Friday. You got the fight card that's on the Zone in Fort Worth, Texas on Saturday. They're, of course, headlined by Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Erickson Lubin, right? But we also had something that was planned for November 14th, man, and well, as I was mentioning on Sunday, man, I said, look, I was unsure about it on Sunday, but all I was telling folks was insurance. And that's what, just being real, that's what I had was insurance, because, yeah, I was planning on going down there to Miami next week, for that fight card, right? But, as you said, they ended up pulling it. We're not, able to see that fight there between Jake Paul and Tank Davis, right? So now it's like, okay, what to make of it? What are we dealing with in this sense, or whatever it is, right? Now, it's been a few days since, or a couple days since that announcement went down. There's been like a number of, as they say, rumors or accusations or that type of thing that have been, spreading around in reference to that. Now, one thing I will say is now with on the side of Levante Tank Davis. Okay. Um, whatever happened outside of the ring, that'll have to get itself sorted out. We will get, what we need as far as like the information and everything like that. So as far as like that civil suit, whatever happens, it goes down, then it is what it is. And then people will be able to make, their final judgments on that. Now, with that being said, when it comes to this event itself, okay, most valuable promotions was prepared for, having an event there for November 14th. Okay. Now, as far as like vetting and all that type of stuff, that's going to be up to them. You have to, check out or contact Nikisa Bedarian or whoever, is out there for most valuable promotions. Now, as far as me, outside of being at the press conference in New York City, that is the only time that I've been able to like be around Nikisa Bedarian or speak with anyone in reference to most valuable promotions about any event that they've done so far. And this even goes back to the press conference when they had Jake Paul and Mike Tyson last year, when it was originally scheduled for July of last year, and then it got rescheduled to be in November of last year, right? So as far as like that is concerned, like we haven't had any type of communication. For me, all you were able to see as far as like any representative from MVP is like a fighter that signed under MVP, and that was from last week when I had Avius Griffin, the underdog Avius Griffin, who was scheduled to fight there on November 14th, right? So now that whole fight card scheduled for November 14th, scrap. Not there for the Casilla Center in Miami, Florida. Now, there's been some word that there might be a new date for a couple fights that were on that card for November 14th, and that it would be for the following month, December 14th. Now, if you're going to have, like, for example, Alicia Baumgartner, right? Like, she was scheduled to fight there on that card, but what was it, against Layla Badouin, right? Now, with that being said, right, if they're gonna have, let's say what it is, Baumgartner on that fight card, then what is going to happen with Jake Paul? Are they gonna have him headlining another fight or headlining a fight with another fighter? I don't know. Now, let's see here if I'm able to pull it up, because I had the thing in there as far as like the email, because I had applied to for credentials and all that type of stuff. So I want to see here if I'm able to share the screen here from the email or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be able to share this thing here for y'all, and what most valuable promotions posted out or was able to do for a statement there. He said at the time that they were no longer able or no longer will move forward with Jake Paul versus St. Davis. This is as of 9 p.m. Monday. Now I was, on, in another live, there with BVO Sports, shout out BVO Sports. And then this was happening, just while I was in that conversation, right? And they sent their email. It said, most valuable promotions in Netflix announced that Jake Paul versus Dante Davis, originally scheduled for Friday, November 14th in Miami, Florida, will no longer be moving forward. Quote, our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly, said Nikisa Bedarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions. While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan still remains for Jake Paul to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. Details regarding a new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. I'm gonna, kind of like cut that from there, okay? Because there were some rumors about the actual event scheduled for November 14th not getting enough buzz or whatever it is. When I was checking, the tickets for Ticketmaster looked like they were moving pretty well. We just had to have, these next few days to see if they're going to be able to push to sell like the final amount of tickets that they would be able to sell. But like those ringside seats, they were like 6,600 or something like that. They were selling the 100 level seats. They were pretty much getting bought and all that type of stuff. So they were, getting some movement as far as like that particular event there at that scheduled time, right? But now with this whole thing going on, or this reschedule or whatever it is, then now we got to see if it's going to be like as rumored by some to be on December 14th. Real quick, shout out to my brother Toby Bartlett here in the building. Salute to you here joining on the Midweek Report. But just going back on this here with this post, right? And my brother Joseph Aaron is in the building. He says, "Hit the like button, man." I mean, at the very least, it's free 99. Hit the like button. It's free 99. We will appreciate it if you're able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Also, right? As it said, like fans who purchase tickets, will be able to get a automatic refund through their original point of purchase within 14 to 21 days. Okay, fans who purchase through secondary market should contact them. Okay, so you have that, right? But like I was saying, there's a lot of back and forth going on. You had the statement by Jake Paul. You had a statement by Nikisa Badarian in response to a couple of folks within boxing that was saying, "Oh, tickets weren't moving," and he's like, "What? I don't know about all that." But as I was saying, there's some that kind of like had a little bit of buzz in reference to Jake Paul in that here we are it was about a week away, and is it something where maybe Jake Paul didn't get to the point where he was supposed to get ahead of this upcoming fight? Right? So let's see how this thing. Oh, but here's another thing here from Joe. He says if Jake Paul and Tank Davis still get the licensing fee from Netflix, they go through with the event. Follow up. The live gate was going to be nothing compared to their massive licensing fee from Netflix. And that is why, you have this quote from Nikisa Badarian, which is interesting to me because if they're going to have a rescheduled fight or rescheduled event, and as I was mentioning, the rumor is that would be a month from when the original scheduled event is. One, would they already have their opponent lined up? Two, you mean to tell me that it's going to be good enough for Netflix to invest into that particular event at that time? Three, if it's at that rumored date, that is a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So you're going to have this happen on a Sunday in December in the middle of football season at the pretty much what I say, NFL, for college football, you might be in a little bit of a transition period because it's going to be, around that end of the regular season, and they're going to get into the whole thing with the college football playoffs. So they might not have to worry about all that. Okay, but still, you still have NFL that's going to be, on a high gear around that time frame. So you're going to be kind of like competing against that in the late season in comparison to having it around this particular time or something like that. You know what I mean? So those are like a lot of factors that you kind of like take into account there. You know what I mean? As I said, I thought I saw something from maybe Coach Kenny Ellis there, of course, who is one of the trainers there for Tank Davis, and he said. I think he said something in reference to the weight for Jake Paul, and I kind of followed up with all of that, with Coach Kenny, and yeah, that's where he's leaning towards. Okay, so even with the whole stuff that was going on with Jake Paul and having a thing there with Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis and all that type of stuff, was he able to be on schedule to make that weight, that contracted weight for the fight? I don't know. But the thing on the other side with Tank Davis, like I was saying, one, got to see what's going to be happening with the civil suit. But number two, as far as like him and that chick, like Joe was talking about yesterday on Real Boxing with Ronnie Seals, sometimes being single is you're probably much better off being single. Because man, oh boy, oh boy, listen, you know what? I ain't even gonna get into it. I ain't even gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna get into it, man. But I mean, you see the whole thing in reference to the message there from Nikisa Badarian, and it says there in the last sentence, most valuable promotions. Thanks everyone for their patience and looks forward to delivering an extraordinary boxing event in 2025, live globally only on Netflix. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do within 4 or 5 weeks time, because I will knock it off to, let's say, all right, we're on November 5th right now. Yeah, next week was supposed to be the original scheduled event, so that takes away 1 week. All right, now you're pretty much like scrambling to see who you're going to have for Jake Paul to fight within a 3 week period. So they're going to have to basically be either ready to go right now, or something where you say, oh, they don't have to really do that much in order to be prepared for the fight with Jake Paul. And with me, it's like this. Hey, yeah, yeah, for being single. Hey, man, listen. Hey, I'll take your word for it, man. Hey, you see how I'm living right now. All right. But going back to this thing here with the proposed schedule, if they're going to reschedule this thing here for let's say for December 13th or whatever it is, right? I wanted to see if I'm able to pull up something in reference to this, because I thought that I saw something where one person posted where they saw that one of the fights, like I was mentioning on the original schedule, was kind of like pushed back. So I'm going to try to see if I can look for that, because if they saw that, oh, one of these folks was able to kind of like post it, then yeah, it said through the IBF. It said per IBF's website, the fight between Alicia Baumgartner and Layla Badoin has been moved from November 14th to December 14th, and it has it slated for Miami, Florida. Man, ooh, yeah, that I don't know about all that, man. I don't know about all that. Let me see, man, because I wanted to see if I could find it on the thing for the IBF. So let me see here if I could look it up here, because I wanted to see if I could pull it up here on the schedule. Let's see. Yeah, I don't necessarily see it here right now on the IBF website, but hey, we'll see like that. Joseph asks, did you see Lou DiBella go insane on Ariel's show today? No, no, and it's Lou DiBella. Is some people like him, some people don't. Sometimes he says some good stuff. Sometimes he'll be off. But I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've talked with him sometime back a while ago. He'll be cool, but at other times he'll go off and it'll be on a tangent that could be way out of way out of line, or way out of what is really out there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if it's like something in the what I'd say in the ballpark of oh, they were going to go through with this, and they didn't necessarily vet properly, and oh, they should have thought about this before going forward with the fight and all that type of stuff. Maybe he said that. I don't know. But I mean, it's Lou DiBella, man. You know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, I have to see if they're going to try to go for December 14th. If they could, make that happen and stuff like that. But let me see if I could try to do a little bit of research, so to speak, right? Because let's see if we have. Oh shoot, I did it wrong, man. Should have put it up on the calendar joint, right? So I was gonna see if yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. They do have that thing that they open December 14th. Cause shout out to my guy YSM Sports Media, right? Because had a conversation with him about the event and the whole thing with the reschedule. And if it's for that rumored date of December 14th, I mean the Casilla Center is open on December 14th, but the day before on December 13th at the Casilla Center, you got Brandy and Monica in the Boy Is Mine tour with special guest Kelly Rowland. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Depending on the opponent, I don't know, man. I might just go just to see what's going down with that whole concert. And listen, hey, they're gonna be out there. They're gonna be out there for the concert, bro. So I don't know about Jake Paul and the opponent, but as far as like that concert, oh, they're gonna be out there. I'm gonna say that for sure. All right. Oh man, yeah. Oh, shout out to Toby, man. He said he was starting to watch it there with Ariel Helwani. Yeah, yeah. But salute to you, man. Being able to, be on here for the midweek report. Yeah, so I'm gonna be able to catch that later, right? So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting little situation with that right there. All right. So with that being said, wanted to get into this next joint here because shout out to Premier Boxing Champions. Therefore, their conference call that took place yesterday with the undercard for Isaac Pitbull Cruz and the Reaper Lamont Roach Jr. You did have Jesus Ramos Jr. and Shane Mosley Jr. on there. You did have Eris Landy Lara and Janabek Amhala, on there or whatever it is. And you had Oshaki Foster and Stephen Fulton on there. Okay. Now, of course, people know about the story there. Oshaki Foster, Stephen Fulton, WBC Super Featherweight Championship. Some people thought it was going to be happening in August. Then they thought it would have happened in October. Didn't happen on October 25th. Then he had this whole thing. Now it's slated for December 6th. And before this, conference call or whatever it is, there was like a little bit of a buzz that Stephen Fulton kind of claimed that we made some moves or pulled some strings in order for this fight to happen on December 6th. So that has been a topic of conversation here recently, and this is coming off of their little back and forth that happened on the Gillian Wallows show, sometime back. So I wanted to see here if I would be able to, pull this up. You know what I mean? Because shout out to brother Matt of Brunch Boxing, who has had a conversation there with Oshaki Foster in the past, but he was able to, be on for this conference call. So let me see here if I'm able to play his question. And after this question, oh man, it went off. So let's see here. Remember, this is credit from Premier Boxing Champion. Shout out to brother Andrew Roberts there of Premier Boxing Champion. So here we go.
I appreciate you. How you doing, fellas? This one's for Oshaki. You seem to be a little offended by reports that Stephen Fulton had to move mountains to get this matchup on December 6th. What happened with that, man? How did this fight come about on this date so soon?
Cause I mean, honestly, moving mountains is crazy. It don't even make sense to me, honestly. The fight was been supposed to happen. It ain't like my purse got bigger or smaller. It's like move mountains for what? The fight was already secured, like I don't really get it, but they gonna have to
But the fight
explain
wasn't
that.
secured on this date. I made it happen on this date.
Bro, I didn't need I didn't, bro. What was gonna happen was,
It
be
wasn't
real
about
with you,
what you
I was
needed.
gonna move on anyway. Like if this ain't happen, so it ain't nobody making no accommodations for me, bro. Like
I made it for
I don't
myself and for
get.
the fight and for
Well,
the
say that
card.
for
That's what I did.
yourself. Say it for
That's
yourself,
what I
not for
did.
me.
That's
Not
what
for
I
me.
did though.
Ain't nobody gave me no extra bread or nothing like that, bro.
I
They
ain't.
acting like
Who cares what they
accommodations,
did, bro?
like.
Don't nobody know if they gave
Cause
you
you
extra bread. I don't
talking
really give
like
a
you
fuck if they
just
did.
made some shit happen, bro. You
I
ain't make
made the
nothing
fight
happen,
happen on
bro.
this date, bro. I made the fight happen on this
Well, I
date.
appreciate you, my G.
That's
But don't
it.
go on there
That's it.
talking like you just did some extra stuff for it. Like, come on, bro.
When have I
Like,
said
come
something
on,
like I
bro.
did some extra shit?
Man, I'm
When
talking
have you
about
heard me?
Pete,
When have you
whatever.
seen me
You know
write,
what I
tweet, or
mean?
anything? That been y'all tweeting
I'm just letting y'all
and
know.
going
Ain't
all this
nobody
back and
move
forth
mountains
mouth,
for
and it's
nothing.
always an issue and shit, man. I'm not trying to hear none of that shit.
Man, I'm just letting you know. I don't give a fuck
I'm
what you
not
trying
even
to
trying to
hear.
hear that shit.
I don't care what you trying to hear. I'm just
I'm
letting you
not
know. Ain't
trying to
nobody
hear it,
move mountains for me, boy. Like ain't nobody
bro. I made this
need
shit
that.
happen.
Like
That's
nobody
final,
need. Like,
bro.
I don't know what you.
It's final. I
We
made it
made this
happen.
happen, boy. We pushed for this fight to be before the end of the
Okay,
year. Let's be real. We pushed for this fight to
okay,
be before the end of
okay,
the year.
okay.
Y'all, you wanted to go to
You don't know
January,
what happened.
February, boy.
No, no,
Okay.
no. The fuck I didn't
All
want
right.
to go no January,
All
February.
right, man.
That's how I can
All right.
tell you don't know what you talking about, bro. You
All
just
right.
talking, bro.
All right. Yeah. All
As
right.
usual, bro. You just be talking,
All
bro.
right. I'm in
Talking, talking,
negotiations.
talking.
I know what's going on. I ain't
Talking,
behind
talking,
the
talking,
scenes.
bro. Well, they must be fucking lying to you.
Ain't no way.
'Cause
What
I
the
ain't
fuck?
asking. I know, no, everybody already know. I ain't asking no January nor February. They was gonna try to push it to January, February. If it wasn't for me stepping the fuck up and keep making phone calls. I don't know what the fuck you did
Yeah,
on
if it
your end,
wasn't
but I
for
know what I did
you,
on my
yeah,
end.
if it wasn't for you, bro,
I know what I
whatever
did on
you
my end.
say,
I don't know what you did
Mister,
on your end.
you
I
so
know what I did on
cool.
my end though.
You got it, cool boy.
I know what I did on
You
my end.
feel me?
I know
You
what I
know
did on
what
my end though.
you got it, cool
I don't know
boy.
what you did on your end to make shit happen.
Motherfuckers
But
be
before you
trying to
even
make
say,
themselves seem so great.
before you even say, I was trying to make it happen January, February, and these niggas lying to you. Nobody, why the fuck would I try to push it for January, February?
So you the only one try to push it to make
I
this
don't know
happen?
what you did. I'm
All
speaking in
right
reference
then.
to
So stop
myself.
speaking like y'all
But you
speaking.
speaking on me as if you know I was just trying to get a fight happen in
Man, I'm
January,
just letting
February.
y'all know. I'm just letting you and everybody know. Ain't nobody move mountains for me, boy. Like that's what
Ain't
I'm letting
nobody
you know.
said move mountains for you. That's what I'm saying, bro.
All right,
Like,
I
what are you
got you, bro.
talking about?
All right, you moved mountains for yourself to make this fight happen. All
For
right, bet.
the fight that happened on this card.
All right.
Man, listen, y'all. Hey, all I know is, man, this fight has to go through, no hitches, no nothing on that type of stuff, yo. Because listen, it's been back and forth ever since that initial press conference for when it was supposed to happen on October 25th. And now, of course, with Oshaki Foster, first off saying that, hey, why you got me, at the time in that press conference, right? He's like, hey, why you got me on this side, you know what I'm saying, with Keith Thurman when I'm the champion? I should be over there on the side there with, at the time, Sebastian Pandora, because he's the champion. He's the one defending his title. He should be on that side. So he kind of like had, a little bit of a chip on his shoulder from that point, you know, and how people would kind of like say that, oh, this is Fulton versus Foster instead of Foster versus Fulton, right? So that was one thing, and then now you got the whole back and forth that was happening there on the podcast there with Gillian Wallow, like I was saying, and then now this, with come on, man, why you had to start them up like that, man? Come on, man. Oh man, that was crazy. And so I'm looking forward to this particular fight, man. These are two very skilled fighters, of course, with Stephen Fulton being a world champion at 122 pounds, a unified champion at 122 pounds, moving up to 126 pounds, scoring the win over Brandon Figueroa in a rematch to become the WBC champion there at 126. Now, seeing if he could become a world champion at 130 pounds against Oshaki Foster, who, has been saying like multiple times over that, like a lot of people have, kind of like overlooked him or did that, or, didn't think that he would, be able to win certain fights or whatever it is. Like, for example, Ray Vargas, when Ray Vargas moved up from 126 to 130 to challenge him for that belt, the WBC belt, or whatever it is, right? So now here it is once again, and it's like, some people are down them again. So I'm looking for this to be like the big real matchup to look for on that fight card for December 6th at the Frostbake Center in San Antonio, Texas, man. Hopefully Brother Joe will be there in the building for this particular fight card. Given the whole little thing about Miami, Florida, like I was saying on Sunday, insurance. Let me see what I could do as far as like pressing some buttons and making some moves to see if I could get up out there for San Antonio, Texas, Frostbake Center there for that particular fight card, because it's gonna be stacked. Like I said, you're gonna have those 4 fights that I was mentioning. You're also gonna have Frank Martin versus Rances Barthélemy on that card. Let me see. I had like the whole co-feature joint that was on there, man. So you're gonna have that Frank Martin versus Rances Barthélemy that's on the card. You're gonna also have Isaac Lucero that's gonna be on there against Roberto Valenzuela Jr. and Luis Nunez versus Hector Sosa on that fight card. And you're gonna have a few more fights that are on that card as well. If I'm not mistaken, you might have Jordan Roach on that card. I have to make a few phone calls. I gotta reach out to them. It's been a little bit since the passing of Lamont Roach Jr.'s grandmother. The mother there of Lamont Roach Sr. So maybe tomorrow or Friday I'll reach out to them and see what's going on and get an update to see if I'll be able to catch up with them. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, I'm definitely looking forward to O'Shaquie Foster versus Stephen Fulton. That's going to be a really, really good grudge match there, because I'm telling you, they are really building that fight up like it's a real fight to look forward to. Now, some may say, given a few of the other fights that are included on the card, you really don't have that much to kind of like build off of. But this one right here, we gonna see. And then with the main event, I'm telling you, don't sleep on that main event, because you're gonna have people that's gonna overlook Lamont Roach Jr. That might end up being a mistake. We gonna see. We gonna see for sure. But yeah, that's most of the stuff there that I wanted to cover here on this edition of the Boxing Source Midweek Report. Shout out to Brother Dante Kirkman for joining us here as a special guest. I'm gonna try to push to have a special guest on for the Midweek Report. I don't know if I'll be able to do it every week, but I'm gonna push for that. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, we do have the Boxing Source podcast. It's Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, as I was saying there from earlier in the show, I'm still working on the thing there for the trading cards. So you kind of like see, a few examples. Here, I did have like a couple of stories that were up, that were on, social media in reference to them. But once I get, a set, like for example, a set of cards, as far as like how many cards in a set or how many cards in the series, then I'll be able to, once I get that done, then I'll be able to distribute them. Do I want to like see if I could do pre-orders? Probably, because I've already had requests for it, so I'll see about doing a thing for pre-orders, because like everything, like for as of right now, I'm doing everything by myself, from design to print to cut to final stuff, doing all that myself for right now. But once I get more things situated, then I'll be able to see about getting distribution out, shipping and all that type of stuff for those that are interested in getting these cards. And yes, I have contacted a couple of fighters in reference to this. They're cool, they're down, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I will work on getting some of these cards signed. But again, I have to make sure I have a full series, have as many prints that I need to have for it. And then once I get that, then we're ready to go. All right. So TBS trading cards on the way. All right. So that's what I got here for this edition of the Midweek Report. And I will catch y'all folks later, y'all. Peace out.